Readings from Meditation and Spiritual Life. Some practical suggestions. First, rise from the gross plane to the plane of thought and then try to rise to the spiritual plane. Before coming in touch with higher spiritual currents, the lower currents in us must be neutralized. When the lower vibrations are too strong, chant the divine name with great vigor and tenacity. Our atmosphere is full of sound vibrations from various sources. These affect us even without our knowledge. If you listen to the music from a radio, you can differentiate the effects of various types of music on you. Some music elevates you, some makes you restless, some just drives you mad. Learn to counteract bad music through bhajan and chanting of holy texts. Create your own inner music. In fact, it is going on perpetually. You can listen to it when you properly tune your mind inward. The soul-enthralling melody of Krishna's flute can be heard within, that fills the soul with bliss and bathes the mind and body in peace. Faith is most essential before taking up japa. It does not matter if at first japa becomes mechanical to some extent, but one must have faith in the power of the mantra. The beginner finds that his center of consciousness is continually shifting, going up, coming down, and so on. This is most difficult for every aspirant. With infinite patience, he should go on with his japa at regular hours, whatever be the result at the beginning. This is the only way to achieve success in due course. You must never allow yourselves to get into a drowsy state during your attempts at meditation or japa. This is most dangerous. Sleep, drowsiness, and meditation should never be connected in any way. If you feel very drowsy, just get up and walk to and fro in the room while doing your japa, till this drowsiness leaves you. When the mind is awfully restless and outgoing, we should tenaciously persist in our japa, even do it mechanically, without giving in to this restlessness. That way, at least a part of our mind would be engaged in japa. Thus, the whole mind cannot become or remain restless. Along with each repetition of the name of your Ishtam, that is the chosen deity, or of your mantra, that is mystic sound symbol of the divine, imagine that your whole body, mind, and senses are becoming purified. This faith must be made firm because, in a way, this is the idea underlying japa. The Ishtam's name soothes one's nerves, calms the mind, and brings about helpful changes in the body. When the mind is in a state of great tension or depression, begin at once humming the name and thinking of the divine. Imagine that this is bringing about a balanced state, a new rhythm in the body and in the mind. Actually, you will feel how it soothes the whole nervous system, how it stops the outgoing tendency of the mind more and more. You may also practice rhythmic breathing before or along with japa. Rhythmic, regular breathing brings about calmness, a certain balance in the nervous system. And this again facilitates your spiritual practices. While doing your breathing exercises, try to give some strong suggestions to your mind. I am breathing in purity, breathing out all impurity. I am breathing in strength, breathing out all weakness. I am breathing in calmness, breathing out all restlessness. I am breathing in freedom, breathing out all bondage. These suggestions may be given even while doing your japa. They are very helpful in preparing the ground for real practice. The holy thought brings about a certain harmony in the body and the mind. Think that with each repetition of your mantra, you are becoming purer and purer. You cannot know the effect of japa at once, but if you go on for some time, steadily and persistently, you will feel it, and then after some years, you will be astonished to find what a great change has come over you. There is a great scope for experiment. This body is to be polarized and made rhythmic, at least to some extent, and the nerves too are to be polarized and made rhythmic. Through practice, we must make the body, the mind, the breath, all of them rhythmic. Then only can we come to have the proper mood for spiritual practices and meditation, and can do them in right, earnest, and in the proper way. Everything else belongs to the preliminary steps. Everything is difficult in this path. Visualization is difficult, control of the mind is difficult, and meditation is difficult. Japa too is difficult, if it is to be done properly, but a little less so. So new strength must be gained, and for this, the suggestions mentioned are very helpful. Make use of the great power of sound and sound symbols. You must try to feel that the holy name, the holy mantra is purifying and elevating you. In due course, you yourself will see that rhythmic repetition of the name is the most essential part of spiritual practice in the life of a beginner. Take the help of the sound symbol always, for sound and thought are interrelated. Thoughts manifest themselves in different sounds. Now we find that the divine idea finds its expression in different holy names, and there is an inseparable connection between the holy idea and the sound. That is why we make use of the sound in our spiritual practice. It becomes easier for us to call up the holy thought with the help of the sound. We should see that we pass from the sound symbol to the idea behind it. Otherwise, the sound does not help us. First comes external worship, the next spiritual practice to be taken up by every aspirant is japa and meditation. And finally comes the experience of the divine being everywhere, with or even without closing one's eyes. This is the highest stage, and one can attain it only after having passed through all the previous ones step by step. Try to establish a definite relationship between the sound symbol and the holy idea, so that the idea comes up the very moment you touch the key of the sound symbol. As in the case of a typewriter, when you touch a key, the corresponding letter is printed on the sheet. So the moment you touch your sound symbol, the corresponding idea should arise in you and come to your help. But for this, a very definite association between the two must be established through systematic daily practice. Even if a great tempest is about to rise in your mind and sweep you off your feet, go on with your japa. If need be, repeat the holy name aloud, or at least to be audible to you. Very often, in a very disturbed state, silent mental repetition is not enough. Audible sound checks the wandering mind. We should never minimize the effects of sound vibration. Our whole mind, even our body, responds to rhythmic chanting of the holy name. Japa puts the mind in tune with higher cosmic vibrations. This calms, elevates, and concentrates the mind. Some people keep up hours of loud japa and get considerable spiritual benefit. The same effect can be produced by repeating the mantra in the mind without any oral expression. Sri Ramakrishna used to compare japa to a chain, one end of which is tied to a heavy block immersed in a river. By holding to the chain and moving forward, link by link, you finally touch the block. In the same way, each repetition of the name takes you nearer to God. The sound calls up knowledge, and knowledge brings us in touch with the divine. You should see that your japa becomes better and better in quality. You should do your japa consciously, intelligently, and have more and more of it as days pass. Always think of the chain and try to get hold of the next link. Thus, you approach the divine more and more and prepare yourself for meditation. Even when we seem to be swept away, let us try our best to hold on to the chain. Very often, we magnify the danger that threatens us. Afterwards, we find that we have been enlarging it too much with our vivid imagination. The situation may be bad, but usually it is not so awful as we suppose. Very often, it does not take such an awful turn as we imagine. And even if matters are really awful, why give up the struggle and allow yourself to be defeated without any resistance? Always go on with your japa, your prayer in such cases, and try to meet the situation as well as you can. Even if you are defeated, your defeat will prove to be a stepping stone to success. As a rule, one must dwell on the form along with the repetition of some holy sound symbol. But when one is not in a meditative mood, one may just go on with japa, repeating the holy name or mantra 1,000 or 2,000 times without any break. It does not matter, even if it is a little mechanical. Practicing this way, one may later on find meditation easier. Meditation is the extension of japa. Japa is meditation with breaks. In a way, meditation is japa without breaks and, of course, a more intensive process. In japa, we have sound and thought with breaks. In meditation, thought alone without breaks. If we want to have meditation, we must first practice japa. You cannot make a sudden jump into meditation. Every time your mind threatens to be out of balance, repeat the name and try to think of the holy form in the center of your consciousness. Hold on to the sound and think of the meaning. If we are able to do this for some time, great steadiness will come. Then our muddled brain will become somewhat clearer. Our thinking and feeling will become more definite. Japa removes many an obstacle and prepares the aspirant for meditation. Whether you feel inclined or not, do it. Go on with it. Why should you stop it merely because your mind does not feel inclined to do it? Why on defeat? Why be deceived by your own mind? Go on repeating the holy name and think of the ideal it represents and never allow yourself to be defeated. Go on repeating it so that your ear may hear the sound and your mind may dwell on its meaning. Next point is the power of the divine name. In the beginning of spiritual life, you need not bother about real meditation. Do japa and dwell on your Ishta Devata. In due course, japa will develop into dhyana, which means unbroken thought on the theme for meditation, like the unbroken current or flow of oil from one cup to another. Through japa, the divine spirit will become more real than the world, and only then will real dhyana become possible. Do the first thing first, and then the next step will come by itself. Start doing japa in your own way. By tuning oneself to the audible repetition of Om, one may gradually make it more silent and come in touch with what is called the Sabda Brahman of the Indian rishis, or the music of the spheres of the ancient Pythagorean philosophers of Greece. Repeat the harmonious sound and know that it is a symbol, a manifestation of the Supreme Spirit who is infinite presence, love and bliss. By tuning your own radio set properly, you come in touch with the cosmic vibrations which will bring you in contact with the cosmic mind, and through that the cosmic spirit which is present everywhere and is the soul of your soul and the soul of all souls. By all means, continue your japa. The holy Shakti mantra an aspirant receives has a tremendous power of removing obstacles and awakening the spiritual consciousness. This really is the power of the Divine Mother of the universe. Call her Devi or Kali, manifest in this age as Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. Sometimes it is very helpful if the aspirant touches one of the higher centers of his consciousness, that is heart, head, with his rosary or with his palm while doing japa. Feeling the center physically makes it easier for him to fix his consciousness there. The holy sound gives a sort of support to the mind. When there is any great trouble, one should try to be a little calm and introspective and should pray to the Divine from the bottom of one's heart. Why allow yourself to be swept off your feet when any trouble arises? The moment you let go the chain, you are lost. When there is absolutely no help, the Divine is the only help, and by the Divine we mean the Supreme Spirit which dwells in us is the soul of our souls. Japa is one of the most important forms of spiritual self-help. It takes us nearer and nearer to the soul of our souls. In our case, japa is the only thing we can really do, and it is out of courtesy that we sometimes give it the name meditation. There can be no question of doing anything higher like real meditation unless we prepare ourselves first through ethical culture, performance of duty, japa, prayers, regular readings from the holy books, and trying to dwell on their meanings as much as possible. These preliminary practices help us in withdrawing the mind from the manifold distractions and in making us dwell on holy thoughts, even though with breaks in the beginning. Later on, through persistent practice, we will be able to continue the thought current in an unbroken way. As we become purer and purer in body and mind, in thought, word and deed, we will be able to have greater and greater concentration and better meditation. And then, in course of time, we can come in touch with the Divine in both his personal and impersonal aspects. Then within our own hearts, we will feel the contact between the finite and the infinite, between the soul and God, the soul of our souls. Meditation thus attains its goal, the highest state of superconsciousness, in which the soul comes in direct touch with the divine reality, its true self, and attains its natural perfection and freedom, peace, and blessedness. May the divine name bring peace and blessedness to all. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om.